Hey, welcome back, friends. If you want to join the friends, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. So today we're going to have a pretty interesting money making guide because it's extremely fast money for how AFK it is. There is a little bit of time that you're going to have to spend collecting some enchanted gems right at the beginning, but after that it's pretty AFK. We're going to be going ahead and making equipment siphons as well as augmentors. I do have a couple of extra things that we're going to be making right at the end, very fast, and you get the majority of the components and parts that you need while disassembling all the other items that you need to make these siphons and augmenters. So might as well do those as well, but the two main things we're going to be making are obviously siphons and augmenters. So let's start out with a couple requirements here. First requirement is going to be having invention unlocked, of course. Siphons and augmenters are obviously part of invention, so you need it for that, as well as for disassembling. Now, the higher the level of invention you have, the more junk chance reduction that you can get, and the more profit that you'll be making. Throughout this entire guide, I will be referencing a lot of numbers, but all these numbers are going to be based on having at least level 105 invention. It's not undoable without level 105 invention. That's just where you get the maximum amount of profit. You'll still be making pretty good money if you don't have 105 invention. It'll just be slightly less, like 10 or 15% less. Not too bad. So, also, a couple other requirements is obviously, like I was talking about before, you need to be able to buy enchanted gems and make them into Rings of Slayer. So you are going to have to go to the rewards page here and learn how to craft Rings of Slayer. On top of that, you obviously need 75 crafting, as it so kindly puts to you right when you are about to buy this item. And I believe it's 300 or 400 Slayer points. Not too bad, you'll get them through doing Slayer anyhow, as long as you aren't canceling tons of assignments. So just train up Slayer a little bit and you will be getting enough points to unlock this. Once you do that, all you have to do is come to one of these people. There's going to be two different places you're going to have to go. The first one is going to be either talking to Jacqueline here or to the Slayer Master in Burthorpe. Obviously, you're going to just be buying enchanted gems, like I said. The reason why we have to come to them as one of our places is because they actually have a separate inventory from the rest of the Slayer Masters. So first thing you're going to do is buy the enchanted gems, and then you're just going to run them to the bank. After that, all you do is just run back and come back to the Jacqueline person here, and she will actually let you buy some more. There are a couple of other ways that you can actually do it. I'm going to go ahead and grab out some note paper right here. You can note paper these. I will show you that. And then also there's another extremely fast method of doing it if you are not willing to spend money on note paper, because obviously note paper does cost you a little bit of money and will cut into your profits. All profits are not including the note paper, but you can see that you can buy these and note paper them. You'll note paper your entire inventory or how many magic note paper you have. Now, the fast method that I was talking about is actually a teleportation method. If you are a 99 or you have level 99 Slayer, you can buy a Slayer Cape, and with a Slayer Cape you can actually teleport around to any of the Slayer Masters that you would like. That makes it extremely fast to get to a bank. I personally use the Tokozo ring. You can use any ring that you like. Obviously, one ring that gets you really close to a bank is the Emerald ring, the Ring of Dueling. That does cost some money. The reason why I use Tokozo instead is because it is free. And then all you do is you activate the Slayer Cape and you teleport to whichever Slayer Master you feel like using. Like I said, you do have to teleport to the first Slayer Master here to get your initial 300. And then after that you can teleport or run to whatever Slayer Master you'd like. The next Slayer Master is up to you. You can use any of the Slayer Masters after this, so anybody from Mazchana to Morvaran. I personally would recommend using the Mazchana, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, if you do not have 99 Slayer, just because there is a lodestone right next to him, and the bank is not actually too far away. If you do have the Slayer Cape, I would recommend using Laplock. That's just my personal preference because he's in a pretty enclosed area and you can teleport to him by the rings of Slay or the enchanted gems and then teleport to your bank extremely fast. It's probably gonna be the closest Slayer Master to any teleport location. Most times you'll teleport onto this little platform here and he'll just be standing right next to you. So if you are going to be teleporting around, would recommend using him. But all you do is buy 300 enchanted gems from the first place and then 300 from any of the other places and you will get 600 enchanted gems. Now that we've bought up a decent amount of enchanted gems, we are going to want to buy up some golden bars as well and combine them together to get some rings of slaying. The easiest way to do that is with a portable forge. If you join the Portables FC or you find their Google document, it will tell you the world that the portable forge is on as well as the location. Easiest place to find it usually is on world 84 in the Lumbridge Academy here. And the only reason why we're using portable forge is that we don't have to run to this forge over here. It makes it extremely fast to make these rings of Slayer. It takes about 20 minutes to make 600 of them. So about 20 days or 20 minutes per day worth of buying the enchanted gems. Obviously, I currently in my bank have more than a day's worth, so I have been stockpiling them. Remember, you could do that and then just AFK whenever you feel like it. But honestly, extremely fast, and all you have to do is just AFK here. Every 25 to 30 seconds you actually click to make another inventory of Rings of Slayer. Now that we've finished making all 600 of the Rings of Slayer, we're going to be disassembling them as well as a few other items that I have in my inventory. I'm going to be going over all of the items, that way you know why you're disassembling them. And just a side note, I am level 120 invention already, so I'm going to be having maximum junk chance reduction. If you're obviously a lower level, you're not going to have maximum junk chance reduction. You may have to disassemble more parts or more items to actually get enough parts or components to make as many of the Augmentors and Siphhons as you possibly can. So let's go ahead and start off with the Rings of Slayer. With the Rings of Slayer, you are going to be getting precious and enhancing components. Those are going to be the two components that we're really caring about. Precious for the equipment siphons and enhancing for the Augmentors. There are two parts that we also care about, the delicate and the connector parts. They are used in extras. They're not used in making either of those items. The next thing we're going to be disassembling is Acadia logs. I'm going to have 909 Acadia logs to disassemble. The reason why I'm using Acadia instead of Maple is because they're actually relatively cheap for how low of a junk chance that they have. Now the reason why we're disassembling them is going to be for the simple parts. Simple parts are going to be used in the Siphhons, and living components are going to be used in an extra. So again, dual reason to be disassembling these. That's basically the trend of this entire guide, is that with disassembling things, they're using multiple parts or components to make multiple different things. Next up is going to be Steel Sword, another prime example of what I was just talking about. Now, we needed some base parts, so I decided to get them from a sword of some sort, and I realized that Steel Sword actually gives you some dexterous components. Now, base parts are going to be used in Augmentors, and dexterous components are going to be used in the Siphhons. So it doesn't actually give you enough dexterous components with 310 steel swords to get all the dexterous components you need, but you do get all of the base parts that you need from 310 of these. Obviously, this is a relatively high junk chance, and I just want to mention, if you are a lower level, you may want to use mithril or adamant instead, just because of the junk chance reduction being a lot more valuable on the lower level equipment. You'll have to look into that yourself, but steel swords seem to be a pretty decent middle ground for a maxed out player. You may want to do adamant instead, though, if you are extremely low level without any junk chance reduction yet. The next thing we're going to be doing is going to be the U short bow. Now the reason why we're disassembling U short bows is because this is the cheapest way of getting dexterous components. We're going to be disassembling 518 of these, again for the dexterous components primarily, but the stave and the tensile parts are both also used in augmenters. So again, a dual purpose item. You get the dexterous components for the siphons, and you also get the the tensile and flexible parts, for the augmenters. Honestly, you get excessive quantities of the tensile and flexible parts. You get like over 1,000 of them, and you only need like 350 per day. So don't really worry too much about the tensile and flexible parts. If you need to be disassembling more swords, if you need more base parts for something, you can do that. This is just the cheapest way of getting dexterous components. And the last thing that we're going to be disassembling for the siphons and augmenters are going to be the Hydra pouches. Now Hydra pouches, again, very low junk chance, and honestly relatively cheap for how low of a junk chance they give you, as well as how many materials. You do get spiritual parts, which are completely useless, crafted parts, which are going to be used in an extra, flexible parts, again, like I said before, we do use them for augmenters, but you have so many flexible parts, they're not really necessary. And lastly, we also have some powerful components. That's what we're really going for here. The powerful components are going to be the second component that you actually need to make augmenters. Now that we disassembled all of these, that's going to be all you need to disassemble. 578 Hydra pouches, 518 U short bows, 310 steel swords, 909 Acadia logs, and 600 rings of Slayer. Obviously, if you're doing multiple days worth, you are going to multiply this by however many numbers of days you are using, as well as, depending on your junk chance reduction, you may have to disassemble extra steel swords or extra U short bows. Those are the two things with decently high junk chances. You'll probably have to disassemble a little bit extra of these, but nothing too insane. If you disassemble all of these items, you will be getting 17.4 siphons per day on average, as well as 7.25 augmenters on average, which add up to 7.5 million GP. It's absolutely insane. And if we go ahead and do a price check of all of these items, obviously the rings of Slayer are going to be not included, so you're going to have to add a little bit of money in for that. But it's about 2.7 mil or so that you're going to be spending on all of these items. To make 7.5 mil, it only takes an hour and a half, about an hour of disassembling. As you could tell, this is about 3,000 components. And then about half an hour for making all the Rings of Slayer, so not bad at all. I do have a couple of other things that I want to mention that you can make a little bit of extra money from. Obviously, I was talking about the delicate components. On top of the delicate components, if you also get some cover components from these iron plate skirts, you will be able to make some the augmentation dissolvers. So augmentation dissolvers are going to be something you can make. They're not a whole lot of money, and you're only making about 4 a day. So you're not making too many, but if you just wait a little while, I actually have over 1,000 in my bank now that I've just been sitting on. Another thing that you're going to be getting from the iron plate skirts are plated parts. If you don't already know what plated parts are used for, they are used in mechanized chinchampas. That's the reason why we're going to want some living components. You're going to be using the living components from the Acadia logs, the plated components from the iron plate skirts, as well as the connector components from the Rings of Slaying, in order to make, it's about 1.8 batches of mechanized chinchampas per day, which actually makes you about 150 GP a piece once you buy the red chinchampas and turn them into mechanized chinchampas. And that will make you an additional about 300 to 400,000 GP a day just by disassembling a couple iron plate skirts. So they're definitely worth doing. Again, iron plate skirts, extremely high junk chance, so if you are a lower level player, you may want to use mithril or adamant instead. All in all, though, we actually are making 4.9 million GP a day when we disassemble all these components, make all the Rings of Slayer ourselves, and then make the 17.4 Siphhons, the 7.25 Augmentors, and the 1.8 batches, or about 90 mechanized Chinchompas a day. Spends about an hour and a half, so you are going to be making 3.3 million GP per hour. And the majority of this is all AFK, so you are spending not much time, just a little bit of time actually collecting the gems for the Rings of Slayer. That's going to be click intensive, and then after that you get to just AFK for about hour 20, hour 30. So not bad at all. Another thing to note is you don't have to do this daily. Basically, if you're spending 10 minutes a day to actually get the enchanted gems, you can like spend your weekend doing AFK, just easy stuff, and you will make extremely good money. 3.3 mil per hour is nothing to scoff at when it comes to AFK. The best I've seen before this is about 2 mil per hour, so this is one of the best AFK money making methods that you could possibly do, as long as you are willing to put the about 5 to 10 minutes a day into buying the Slayer rings. Hopefully you guys all enjoy this and you use it to make some serious AFK gains. If you do, I would love to see a comment down below, see exactly how much you've made. Love it if you leave a like and subscribe to my channel, see all my more money making guides as well as everything else I'm releasing on this channel. As always, have a good one.